This is video 7 in my series on using Google Sheets to do inferential statistics, and the third video in my series on paired numerical data. And if you have not just watched video 6, watch it now, because I'm not going to do a whole bunch of explanation of how we got to where we are now. I have too much other stuff to cover in this video. Our goal is to make columns E and F match columns A and B, but half the time have the numbers switched. And I've come up with a nifty little way of doing this in Google Sheets, although it's a bit complicated. The first thing I want to do is create a list of random ones and zeros. I'm going to type a formula here, equals rand between 0, 1, which will give me a random number, either 1 or 0. If I then click on this little box here and drag it all the way down the column, I'll get that same formula for every single one of these cells, a random 1 or 0 for all of them. The next thing I want is for the column next to it, column D, to be the other number. If this is a 0, this is a 1. If this is a 1, this is a 0. Well, one way to do that mathematically is to do 1 minus this. 1 minus 0 is 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. That'll work. Equals 1 minus column C. 1 minus the cell right next to it, C2. Enter, and there's my 0. And if I click on this and drag it down, I'll get the corresponding 0 or 1 for each one of these. Now notice that anytime I make pretty much any modification to the sheet, all of these reset to a new random number, which is great because it means I can run simulations very, very easily. Now, over in this, what I want this to be is either box A or box B. So I'm going to do a little formula. Box A times box C plus box B times box D. One of those will be times 0, so it won't show up. Only the other one will. Equals A2 times C2 plus B2 times D2. B2D2 was the lesser known rejected name for R2D2. And you can see in this case it's the 10, but if I go make some modification to my sheet over here, now it's the 1. Half the time it's this 10, half the time it's this 1. And if I drag that down, I'll get that same thing for all of them. It takes a moment. There we go. Half the time this will be the 35, half the time it'll be 90. Every time I make any change to the sheet, those will switch around. Maybe it'll be the other way, maybe it won't. Here I want to do the other formula. I want to do A times D and A times D and B times C. So I have the reverse of this formula. This was A and C, B and D. This one I want to be the other combination. Equals A2 times D2 plus B2 times C2. Again, half the time this will be the 1, half the time this will be the 1. They will always be columns A and B, but half the time they will be switched, and it'll be random which ones are switched each time. Now at the top, I preset these formulas, and I can see what the new, oops, these should not be cells J, these should be cells I. Fix that. I can see that the original two means had a difference of 1.5. These two randomized columns have a difference of 0.13. And if I just center my mouse over here and start hitting any key like delete, every time I make any change like that, it'll reset these two columns of random 0s and 1s. It basically runs a new trial for me to see if I can generate this difference of 1.5 just by randomly assigning people to the two columns. There's a trial, nope. Again, nope, 0.46, 0.71, 0.81. And what I'm seeing is it's really hard to generate a difference of 1.5, either positive or negative, just by randomness. So I can conclude that that difference of 1.5 is probably not due to randomness. It's probably due to the fact that people actually do believe that taxes on the wealthiest people should in fact be about 1.5% higher than they are. And I can do as many trials as I want to get that percentage, to get that p-value as accurate as I want and convince myself as much as I want.